All right. Good morning, everyone. Tradingology.com trading room. Dan coming to you on February 18th. And our great friend Dave from Strong Market, as always, is joining us. Everybody else is jumping in the room here, so we'll give you guys a few minutes or a few seconds. And we are seeing one of our first back-to-back days with internals in the negatives. So we'll take a look at high level what's going on here, what we're seeing, and if you guys got questions along the way, definitely jump them in the chat. And we'll get the ball rolling here. We have another Thursday of jobs reports, so we'll cover that. And a look at is the market about to turn or not. So good morning, Dave. Good to see you.
Good morning.
How are you doing this fine Thursday?
I'm doing good.
Hope our friends down south are getting a little bit better. I saw there's a few less people without power, but it's still bad shape for them. So Josh and all the rest of our friends down there in Texas, hope you're holding tight.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, if you have a Tesla in Texas now, it's going to cost you $900 to fill it up.
Holy cow.
The electricity costs have gone through the roof.
Wow.
A little downside to the electric vehicle, the EV story here.
Good morning, BD. Good to see you. Yeah, so if you guys obviously haven't seen, I'm sure you have. It's easier to see on, I'll bring over a big chart from the web, but we see where Russell just hit -2 on the futures, 1% down in the YM, over 1%, over 1.5% on the NQ. So we are seeing definite negativity today. Here's the numbers you can see better for the major indexes. So we're starting to breach into those multiple percentages down. And as always, we'd like to just keep you guys up to date on the unemployment claims. And I think this might be the first time in a long time that I've seen a worse number come out and they claimed it was a bad thing.
We're still in the 800,000s, you know, I mean, it's just, and yeah, they say, you know, it was getting better. The spin last week was, it was, I think 6,000 below the previous week. So, and now we're back up to 861,000. Is that the number?
Yep, 861 off from almost 100,000 off from their prediction of 775. So
yeah,
I'll zoom that in a little bit better for you here.
Is this impacting the market now? I mean, they didn't seem to have any problems with it for the last 12 weeks when we've gone into the 800,000s a week. Now we're at 800,000 again.
Yeah, is it finally taking a toll? I think I saw a headline somewhere here. Yeah. Disappointing jobs data. Well, it's been disappointing for a long time.
Yeah.
What else do we got across the board? Texas still staying freezing. Power outages fall below 600. So they try and spin that. So it used to be over 1 million. Now it's falls below 600,000. So at least it's progress, but it's still a lot of people. And as you say, it's affecting all the energy markets. People are trying to get propane filled. Everything's going on there. Here's the good. Jobless claims rise to 861. So we had the big spike since last year. Then it went up again in July. And we've been down. Now it's starting to go back up week by week here and there. So will that be signs for additional? And how much is actually being reported? That's always part of that unemployment story. I saw an interesting one where they were trying to spin it again. I think it was on my local news. They were actually talking about it on Wednesday's forecast or whatever they call it. Is they're trying to make it sound better by saying, well, these are repeat people now, as if trying to make it sound like it's not as bad because, well, they filed once when it happened and they went back to work and then they closed again. Now they're filing again.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It was an odd spin to it. I'm like, are you trying to say that it's not bad because it's the same person filing twice? It's still not a good deal to me.
Yeah. So if they had, I don't really understand how that works. I mean, I guess the unemployment insurance only lasts so long. What is it, 6 months or something like that? And then.
Yeah, this day and age, they keep extending it too, right? Just like extending.
Well, they didn't pass the next COVID bill yet. That's supposed to extend it and give them like $400 a week extra.
Yep. Go from 300 to 400. You're right. They keep fighting.
But if you do, I mean, what happens if you're off the 6 months, if you expire and your benefits run out, do you reapply? Do you get another 6 months? You have, I mean, I guess I don't understand how that works. If anybody knows, if anybody's unemployed, tell me how that works. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I think the only way you could do it is if you worked enough to qualify again, like in the middle, like if wherever you worked open back up
Oh,
and you worked at the restaurant. But I think if your 6 months expire, they won't just let you re-up for another 6 months. You're like, hey, no, you're done for this year. Or maybe next year you can.
I see.
So I think it's a rolling kind of credit you're supposed to have.
Okay.
But this year and last year, they changed the rules on the fly. So we'll see what that happens.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not quite sure how that worked, but I think you're right, though. I do remember something. I think the last time I was unemployed was back in the 80s. And they said, yeah, you have a 26-week period, I guess, or something like that, that you
Sure.
have to be a certain number of weeks employed.
Yeah, I think that's where it started, and they keep making it longer, just like they keep making more currency.
Yeah. Good morning, BD.
Take a look at the internals. As I was mentioning when we first opened up, first time in a row we're seeing multiple 2 days in a row here only in the negatives, and we are approaching that negative 2000 line right now. So we'll see if it does get all the way down there, or if we have another mini reversal but stays negatives but just less. But the lines are closer together, volume and issues are in concert, so that's usually a sign that it's more of a stronger move to that direction. So keep an eye on that. So that doesn't bode well for overall markets for today. And I added in your CHI as that barometer on my cheat sheet here, and that is also pointing down. So as Dave likes to use as his kind of overall market barometer of a proxy, that doesn't bode well either.
Yeah, it's down pretty sharply today, down 23 cents. That's a pretty big move for CHI.
Yeah, over 1.5%. So it's kind of lining up. So it's a great proxy. If you guys haven't heard that or used it yet, CHI is a nice proxy for the overall markets itself. And I'll pull over the major index charts as well to show you. Similar sharp move down, just like CHI did. A lot of red coming in the waters here. After 2 days ago, we had some green on the balance of power and a little choppiness, but we are full bearish hurting right now on all three indexes. And I have to squeeze this down. I was going to call this out. The strength number is approaching a negative 20.
Yeah.
And the SDs are now beyond negative 10. So that's institutional selling happening because we're past a 10.
Right.
Keep your eyes on that. Terrence asked, can you give the equation for the third internal you have on the Dow Jones? This market timer XL is the original script that came out from Strong Market. The equation under the covers, I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know if our esteemed creator could remember, but maybe that's just what you're looking for. Is what indicator is this? Is that what you mean, Terrence? As you type, it is basically these numbers put into a script. So it's issues and volume of the New York Stock Exchange internal activity. So advancing volume, advancing issues, declining issues. So it's this number put into lines so you can read it. And the extremes are 0.08 and 0.02, as then it means 80% of the issues are going up or down, or less than 20% are up or down. So that's how we draw in the extremes there.
Yeah. So the yellow line is the number of declining issues divided by the total number of issues that are trading today. And then the pink line is the volume that's going into those advancing and declining issues. Again, it's the volume going into those declining issues divided by the total volume, and then it gives you that percentage. So you can see that when you're 80%, where we are right now in the issues, 80% of the issues are declining, and the amount of volume going into those 80 issues is pretty heavy. It's over 0.75%. So it just kind of gives you an overall view of, and the way we use it is if it's in that middle line. See, that middle line is blue right there. That's the zero line, really. And you can go into the settings and change that. I typically do. I'll go in and change it to like yellow dots or something like that. When we're closer to that zero line, that means that we're just going to have a choppy market. We're just going to be up and down for the day. If we're above those extreme lines at 0.2 or 0.80, that's 80%. So right now we've got 80% declining issues in volume. That means we're in a strong trending day. And if it stays that way throughout the day, then that typically means that the market is going to continue to be bearish if we have the bearish side, which is the yellow and pink line. The green and the gray line are the bullish issues in volume. And if those are above 80%, then typically we stay bullish for that day. And like I said, if they're in the middle, just kind of bouncing around, then it's just kind of a choppy day.
And the more separated they are, we have found that is also a good sign too, that they're not in sync, where it's more for, we like to call it the spaghetti, where it's not,
right.
It's not designed for a directional bias.
Right. So you can see on that day that you were just pointing to, those 2 days there, it looked like the issues were up, but there wasn't much volume going into those. And so they gave us an indication that probably wouldn't last.
Yeah. So the way you read that at the end of the day is the number of issues versus the volume going into it. So if you see a big discrepancy, there might be a few issues that are running up, but the rest of them aren't. So that's where you get the big separation, where you could have, the green line way up here, but the gray line's way down here, where there's not a lot of volume overall, but there's a few issues that are up. That's how it kind of correlates and how you understand that.
Yep. So that would definitely be a warning sign that there's very little volume chasing those stocks that are up. No sellers have come in yet, but without volume, it's typically bearish for the market.
Does that help, Terrence? Let us know. If it doesn't, I'll restore this guy back down. So I just put them all together. It's looking at everything a different, slightly way, just because eyes visually see things different, where you can call it, yeah, everything's trending down, just minor separation. And then similar thing here where it's got some dots. And so these are all looking at the internals.
Yeah, the other MTXL internals there on the right side is when you see the dots come really close together, that's typically a sign that things are going to change. When they're really wide, again, it's a change. So yesterday, I think at the close, we saw them really, really close together. And now we're kind of starting to see that they're, kind of separating a little bit here. Not too much though, just a little bit.
The indicator name itself is Market Timer XL. No underscores, no spaces. So if you don't have it, shoot an email. And as long as you're a Market Timer subscriber, you will get that copy. That was one of the very first ones that came out. So some people saw it right away and some people didn't. Just depends on when you signed up. So if you didn't see it in your bundle, shoot an email to support and we'll get you taken care of.
Yeah, so nothing else on my radar. I mean, we can take a look at gold and silver. It looks like gold was up this morning. Now it's down a little bit. Silver is down as well. A lot of the crypto stocks like Riot and Mara that we've been following are down pretty strong today. Bitcoin is down about 400 points. But Riot and Mara are really leveraged Bitcoin plays. So, they will go down a lot more than Bitcoin, and they'll go up a lot more when Bitcoin goes up. I played those, and they're pretty good traders. You can trade those pretty well. On our commodity stocks, the Dixie is down a little bit, but it's come back from, it's still down about 0.3%. So yesterday was up pretty good, about 4.46%. So commodity stocks, for the most part, are kind of mixed to up. So looks like we've got wheat up the strongest, up 2.22%.
We'll pull over. You're looking at I grabbed a couple charts here. This one always changes on me. I have this on MGC. For some reason, I don't know why this chart doesn't like me. So let me pull up gold on this one again. We'll just go to the continuous. It's the easiest one to grab right away. Yeah, look at that. Drop down to 1768. Interesting.
Yeah. It was up this morning, and then it just kind of started dropping off there.
Like crude oil too, I mentioned this in an email that we sent out recently. This is one that some people are starting to talk about again. We see we're back in the 60s, if we have anyone, I don't think Josh is with us this morning. He's probably working hard on taking care of the kin, but I could see, and there's been multiple people speculating about, $100 a barrel oil again. And
Yeah,
especially with this energy going on now, that might just exasperate it again.
right.
So there was we saw it went negative last year, right? That one day when there was the debacle where it was -40 on the West Texas futures. Then since then it started to climb. So, and that's when back when President said we're filling up the tank, right? The US itself just bought all the oil they could get their hands on. Well, how smart does that look right now? Because we're back in the 50s and 60s and probably headed to 100.
Yeah, I had no idea that oil could go negative. I mean, in the 40, 50 years that I've been trading, I've never seen any commodity like that go negative.
Yeah, that'll be one
Those
that
are-
you can all talk about that no one's ever seen, and we lived through it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And I guess the reason it can go negative is that there's a storage cost for it. So interesting.
BD's got a
BD,
question. Yeah, go ahead.
BD is asking, are you bullish on uranium stocks? I am. I am in a issue called LMRXF. They do a uranium mining. They have really gotten beat up. This is one of my beaten up stocks. BD, are you in the Wealth Master class? Because I talked about it in the last master class. This is one of my beaten up stock issues that I really, really like, and I've been involved in that. There's also another one that's a base metal, but they do some uranium. It's called LUNMF, but LMRXF is my number one pick on uranium. I would not do the uranium ETF. I kind of like the small cap stocks better. I think you'll get a better return on those. So this is my number one uranium pick right here. Laramide Resources.
Let me switch this guy to like a weekly, and it's easier to see the long-term plays.
Cameco. Do you have a symbol for it? I haven't heard of that one.
CCJ.
CCJ? Yeah, CCJ.
See if I can pull it up and toss here. If my keyboard works. Or the person running the keyboard.
I haven't done any research on that, so I'm not quite sure. Is that are they primarily uranium stock? It's not a, it doesn't look like a I'm not sure what the market cap is on that, but do they give that? I don't think they give that on the chart.
I don't believe I see that, but it's an interesting similar pattern that we like seeing. In the
Yeah, it looks like it's
stock.
been beaten up. Looks like it's been beaten up, and it's starting to have a little rise there. Definitely. Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely looks like one I would be interested in. I'll check it out some more. Absolutely.
Thanks, BD.
Yeah.
We'll stretch that
Yeah, it
guy
looks
back
like
a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like it was there. Do they have? Looks like they have earnings too. So let's see if they. Oh wow, it's really kind of taken off here in the last couple of months here. So from November at 9:30. Yeah, looks interesting.
Tell me you got in at $6, BD.
Yeah. Oh boy, earnings last in February here, February 10th. They had a surprise earning of 19 cents above estimate, which was minus 0.03. So wow, that's very nice.
Wonder why that's not showing on my. Usually they got the earnings. I don't see the latest earnings showing up here yet.
You just click on the dollar sign there on the February. It should be February there. No, that's the call.
Well, this is back in. That's November.
Oh yeah, I've got one here for. This was let's see. It was period ending December 2020. Date was the 10th of February 21. I'm on a daily chart. Yeah, you're on a daily chart too.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well, just like BD says, he was in until he closed his Ameritrade account.
Oh, okay.
because of the debacle after with the GameStop week, I think it was, if I remember right,
Oh, gotcha.
and just not having access to things. Haven't re-entered, he says. Yeah, it's probably not the best time to re-enter, but looking at the chart, you never know. It's hard to say, right? But we appreciate the insight on that one. That's a good one to keep an eye on for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, I like it.
STs are still down. Supply demand's back at -10, so a slight return. We'll see if which just kind of led to the little mini bounce back up to the 8 and the 4 EMAs here. So that's always an interesting time to watch that. How's our futures looking? They fall off the chart yet?
Yeah, the ES I'm watching 38.90. We dipped a little bit below 38.90 here, but that was a previous area of resistance that has become support. We're trading just a little bit above that right now. And actually, yeah, 38.90. We're just slightly above that on the 30-minute chart. So if we close below that on the 30-minute, which we got about 9 minutes left to go, we could see a lower, even a lower S&P here. But 38.90, let's see.
Yeah, we got some tighter levels from yesterday's shorter range, actually, which we haven't seen in a while. So they must took a little break yesterday. But we'll get that expanded in a hurry. It won't take them long to get back to those old habits. But if you never do this, it's always a good idea to zoom out a little bit and see how they're playing off of these levels. If you haven't used them yet, I think most of the guys are using the person's pivots, but it's an interesting one. You see we're right on that second one today for ES. We're bouncing right off it.
Yep. Internals still look weak. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see the ES bounce around a little bit here, but we'll see what happens. The internals still look like they're, up there, and they're holding. They're not really bouncing back like they did yesterday. I think everybody's anticipating that at some point the market's going to go down, but nobody can really predict when.
No one's with the call option ratio. You wouldn't think anyone's thinking it's going down, but maybe they'll start getting in there. We're starting to see just a little bit of people talking about it might go down. It's like, oh, you're actually saying it finally.
Yeah, it's almost like nobody wants to say the B word, the bear.
They think they're going to be the ones that jinx it or something.
Yeah, maybe. That thing, the page that I put into the RTUS yesterday on the VIX was interesting. I have not yet found a VXMT and VXST chart yet. I didn't really look that much yesterday, but we need to find that.
I'll start looking. I didn't get a chance to look. I have noticed, once after going through the previous master classes and getting prepared for, the future here, I will say just my day-to-day operations have changed since we have some nice positions for the long term. I'm trading futures a little bit less, and I'm starting to do some more in the evening. So I grabbed my trades last night when there was a little bit less volatility. So that's one thing to keep in mind too, is adjust for your schedules. I find it's kind of nice where I traded a little bit 7, 8, 9 o'clock last night, grabbed a few trades, made my daily target. So I'm like, all right, I'm off tomorrow morning. I can focus on, doing stuff for you guys here in the trading room. I can just kind of keep an eye on the long-term stuff. So it's good for your health too, not to always trade futures. They're awesome vehicles, but if you're in a day in and day in and trying to beat yourself up, it's a grind, as you guys know. So that's one thing to keep in mind too, is take a break when you need to. The market should be there. We always say the market's going to be there next day. In this day and age, anything can happen. I'm watching the futures. Terrence is asking, what are you watching during the evening? So it's YMES, NQ, RTY on the micros. So I'll look at trades on those, leveraging the target hunters strategies, or just MES type strategies that we talk about in the courses. So that's what I'm looking for, opportunities. So it's a little scalp trading basically.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I mean, you don't necessarily need to be in during the day. They're liquid on, at night too. They're very liquid. And I got up at about 5:30 this morning, and I took a short position on the ES and the MES here at around 39.11 this morning. So
Nice.
you know, it got a little nice little decline on that, and so you don't need to be in the market during the day, that's for sure. Especially when it does get really volatile. Sometimes the night session is, a good way to make some money without the volatility.
It is slower moving for sure. Terrence, he's asking, does it move super slow, and is there enough volume at night? There's definitely still volume. It's not the daytime volume, but you can still see it as you're watching in your ladders. If you have depth of market in your feeds, you can watch the volume move around. So yeah, the futures, that's the best thing about the futures market, is they're still, as Dave called out, they're liquid enough. There's enough people in there. You're not going to get stuck holding the bag. If it goes one way or the other, you can always get in and out. Worst case, you use a market order and it slips on you 1 or 2 ticks. It's not going to crush you if you're using micros. That's there's still good opportunities.
Absolutely. Now, it does move super slow when we're in a bull market, but if we're in a bear market and we get some volatility during the day, it will move at night.
Yeah, look at overnight here where we went from. I'll pull up just ES. We'll zoom back in on him here for the last few minutes. So if we're going, these are squeezed into 10 points. So 39.50, 39.40 there. And I'll zoom in a little bit closer. Now we're at 5s. So this is still, 5-10 points on the ES. Even if you're on micro ES, those are decent moves. If you start playing things around the 200 EMA here, we see it respected it and bounced off it. That's one way you can look at things. Or, the wrinkle clouds under the covers here that we've talked about over time. I have lots of indicators at once, so you kind of overlay what you need to see. We get below that wrinkle cloud. That's an opportunity to watch it revert to the mean, is one way to think about it, where there's a little scalp trade there. Yeah, it moves enough, and there's enough volume. I don't know if I can overlay volume quick enough for you here. We'll overlap it in, turn it on in the futures, apply it. So yeah, it's lower, but it's still there as I mouse over it. Let's see, volume's probably not on my radar. Keep your eye on right here. So we're on, thousands, hundreds. So if you're only trading 1 or 2 contracts, that's still plenty of volume.
Yeah, and that's on a 5-minute chart. So you're talking about 1,000 contracts on a 5-minute chart. That's a lot of volume.
Now, if we compare that to a recently released Ethereum, see if I can pull it up on this chart or not.
Oh yeah, I haven't checked out those futures yet.
Those were like 100 contracts in the whole day. Here we're doing, 1,000 every 5 minutes.
Is it on TOS yet?
Looks like either my keyboard didn't work again or it's a PEBCAC error. There we go. It doesn't, is it, let me see.
It's got to be a /, yeah.
Yeah, we do have it on TOS. 2, 15.
2 contracts.
Don't trade those overnight. Even during the day, look at how low a volume they still are.
Oh my gosh. Let's see what the chart looks like.
Where is the chart? Right.
Just double click on it.
I did that. It didn't bring it in.
Really? Huh.
It's weird. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, a little delay, I guess.
Yeah, I think my computer's busy right now. I hear the fans are spinning hard. So yeah, it's respecting these levels as well. I haven't looked at this on the charts yet. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. Zoom in. Let's see what the bars look like. Because if they're really thin contracts, those bars are probably going to have quite a bit of spread on the bars alone.
There's 22 for a high right now. 24 contracts.
Yeah, that's not something that I would trade yet. And I think the margin requirements are 10 times the price.
Yeah, I think so.
If I saw that correctly on the CME. So you need $19,000 in margin to trade 1 contract.
So there's 2 contracts traded. There's 2 more. There's 2 more. That's where you might not be able to unwind a position if you're in one. If you're long and you're trying to sell it, you might not find a seller until too far away.
Yeah. Interesting.
We'll see how long that takes to get some volume behind it. But with that, we're at the top of the hour, so I think we'll wrap her up. We'll move this guy out of the way. beautiful sunset for you. All right, gentlemen and ladies, if you got any questions, as you know, you can always get a hold of us at support@tradingology.com. And for Dave, there's always the support@strongmarket.com. So the support staff's always there. You're welcome, BD. It's good to see you. I'm glad to see you guys today. You guys have a great weekend, and we will be in touch soon.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys, and have a fantastic weekend, Dan, and everyone, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Take care, Dave.
Bye, guys.